psychology, I mean, is it worth, like, I mean, maybe like the psychology aspect, I mean, it's worth mentioning. I mentioned it during the intro.
Right.
You have like, and that's something I notice a lot about my guests is that there seems to be this gravitation towards how people work, and people who are like, who study human nature, whether it's psychology or sociology. There's a lot of us in this industry. I can't help but know it. Maybe it's because I'm interested in that stuff and I notice it, but have you seen the same thing?
I have, and I remember you talking about that on a previous show,
Yeah.
and I loved that because I was somewhat engaged and attracted to that. What's interesting is, what I don't know for myself is how much the education in psychology helped shape the way to being a leader, or how much just because I was attracted to it meant that I was attracted to human nature, and by being into it, engaged by it, let's say, meant that I wanted to study it and understand it and listen to it. And so the core of it always, going back to how you nailed it with empathy, and I didn't even really realize that that's what I was learning at the time, so bravo on that, is, are you listening? Are you being empathetic? Are you looking to understand what's going on in somebody else? And then at that point, do you care? And how are you going to use that information for the greater of the good?
I think that's the keystone right there, the hinge. Do you care?
Right. Oh,
right? Because,
yeah.
I mean, you can recognize this stuff, but it's giving a fuck that matters,
It's
right?
totally,
like, because what are you going to do about it once you
Right.
identify it?
Where's
right?
your intention?
Yeah. So what were the biggest lessons you drew from your time studying psychology that you think you apply to these days?
Well, I think that, you can have a lot of different theories behind it. I think one of the greatest ones that I did learn is that we are all a little messed up.
Yeah. I love that you say that, because I think we all have this, like, there's this expectation of us to be standard, right? To be what fit into this box, but we all have baggage, man. There's not one person I've met that doesn't have an issue, right?
No.
Even if they're like really impressive, they might have an anger issue, like something like that. Like,
And if you come in with that understanding in front of somebody, then you hopefully disarm the moment. And then you disarm the ego, and then you actually get to the root of something that's important. Then you can work on something together.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're all a little messed up. It's a key to the foundation. It's probably my next book, in some title, in some variation
we're all
of
a
it.
little messed up.
Yeah, so I already wrote the first. I already wrote about 10 chapters, and
Nice.
the first one is first chapter 1. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will screw me up for life.
Yeah.
Surviving the playground,
Right.
and so understanding how much the playground influences all that we're doing, and we're trying to overcompensate, and where we're going, and all that's happening with it. That's a lot of the lessons that I took away from school and education, tying it back to that, as well as some of the books, as well as I met some of the most incredible teachers. I went to Michigan State University. I had some incredible psychology teachers back in Cleveland, Ohio, Beechwood specifically.
Is Michigan State in Ann Arbor? Is that?
No, that's U of M.
Okay. There's a big rivalry there.
We've ended this
How
interview.
dare I?
Yeah.
How dare I?
Well, the joke is, and I grew up in Ohio, so Buckeyes. Ohio State and Michigan are a real rivalry. Michigan State, and it's grown over the years, but during the time when I was in school, we tried to create at Michigan State more of a rivalry with Michigan than there was, whereas Ohio State and Michigan was the real rivalry. So, no, we're East Lansing,
Gotcha.
Michigan State. And so they had an incredible, your educators get you going. Dr. Bain in high school, Mr. King, and then you go up through college, and some of these educators that really they put you on the path of books. And a lot of it, you just find great people, and maybe that's some of the greatest thing that I found was these great minds who also were engaged and studied and educated in psychology, and then they helped form my brain and my life, and my empathetic lens.
So, I mean, is there another
This
layer
is fun.
there? Is there another layer? Like, is there like a specific like outlook that you think that you garnered from that time that has served you most to this day?
I think that's a great question and hard to answer on the spot. And
People are like, I wish you would send me this question. I'm like, I don't know the questions until I have them.
Right. No, I think I really got into Freud.
Okay.
Here's what's great, right?
So Freud is the whole like
psychoanalytic theory.
Yeah, like rewards basically.
Psychoanalytics. You go for 5 years. What's the subconscious? Your id, which is what you want.
Okay.
Your ego is how I'm going to get it, and your super ego is should I get it? And what was really kind of cool was I really got into Freud, and that if you wanted to, there was this theory that if you had a problem, you would go deep into psychotherapy, into the root of it eventually, and uncover it. And once you uncovered it, the symptom, you would realize the cause of it. So, the cause of it. And then at that point, you would release it. And then there was Albert Ellis, which was somewhat, and forgive me, God, for those that are really studying it, this is years and lots of drinks and some joints and stuff like that along the way. So one was like cognitive, of how you consciously think of something and handle it. So it's a bit of a battle. Then you've got Jungian, which is the collective unconscious. So bringing this to for a quick moment, what's interesting is I was really into this theory as I carried over that you needed this deep psychology, and I myself have gone to years and years of psychology, and I think it helped. Product divorce, this and that, and for whatever reason, Woody Allen, watched some of that growing up, felt I needed it, but more and more I started to come into the play today, which is how much do you need to go backwards, and how much do you need to just focus on the breath, move into the moment, and work on traits that as you find yourself starting to react towards the past or things that are triggering things, work on techniques to let it go, breathe, and kind of move through it in a Buddhist sort of present moment. Now, I'm going to be very careful to say there are many people, whether there's synaptic firing, which means there's chemical imbalances, they absolutely need that. I'm not saying anything against that. I very much believe in that. I'm not to say that some people don't need to go deep into the past, work through trauma, not touching that one. My own journey, I came out of school very much into a psychotherapy way. And throughout the years and through my own journey, my own healing, and through conversations with my mom, who was great about how much do you need to go backwards and how much do you need to just, I'm not coming from trauma in my life, so I'm careful to say that and respect that. I'm just an analytical person, so
I am too. I think that's why we're geeking out right now, because I love this shit. But I think the big things I'm pulling from you, what you drew and how this experience in college has influenced you, is first with the whole Freudian thing, knowing that people want things, right? They have desires. So what do they want? How can I give that to them? How can I reward that? Like, how can I tie into these inherent desires, right? Am I making too much of a leap there?
Nope, keep going.
And then the second part with the whole consciousness, the psyche, what's the word? Cognitive part is that we have control of our consciousness. We aren't like other animals that are more reactive. We can detach from that reactive nature to say, whoa, what's going on here? Like, let me assess the situation. Let me get external. Let me think about this. Let me choose my destiny. Let me choose not to let my past affect me and to focus on the future. It's kind of the summary of what I'm pulling from that.
Yeah, and it's not just like I choose. You have to do techniques. You have to work on your breathing. You have to work on your exercise. You have to take care of yourself. So to kind of tie it in, to show up, part of showing up is saying, all right, if I'm going to do this, I can't just flip a switch and make it happen. I need to take the effort. Did I drink enough water? Going back to the moment of the empathy of my father, what are we doing to take care of ourselves, to put ourselves in the moment that we're not going to be influenced by exhaustion, by not eating right, by not taking care of ourselves? What environment are we putting ourselves in? So a lot of times as managers, we have an opportunity to take that extra drink because we need to do it at the end of the night to fall asleep because the day was insane.
We're finally starting to work this into the restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm pulling on the thread with you,
and
want to keep this going, and not just enough about the past story. But show up is also, sometimes it's hard to say, I don't want another glass of wine at the end of the night, because you need that time to decompress.
Yeah.
It's about saying, nope, I'm going to go home because I'm going to show up for my team. I'm going to put myself in the right. Then I'm going to be able to choose health over tantrums, right? I talk about have technique, not tantrums in the book. And you try to find yourself to say, why am I shouting at something? I need to take a moment, because what do I want out of the moment? Well, what am I doing to put myself in a position that I can bring my best version of myself to the moment? Psychology, tying that all back into today, it's the understanding of all of this, that what do you have control over and what do you not, and what are you doing about it?
It's the understanding that my actions have a result, and I can completely choose where I put myself by being aware, right?
And the victim isn't cute. And again, I'm always careful on these points because I've worked with a lot of people. So shed it, You have the power for today, for tomorrow. What am I doing? How am I taking care of it? Show up, move forward. Let's go.